Man, I felt like that was appropriate, especially since I feel a little bit dead inside. But either way, allow me to bring in my friends. First off, aspiring writer.
This show is awful.
Let's bring on the next one.
So what was that? Was that Hunchback of Notre Dame or something else?
No, that was the Black Cauldron, Disney's biggest bomb.
Oh, okay.
Shame.
It looks cool.
It is. There are elements of cool. Like the Horn King is a really good villain, but everything else in the movie sucks.
Oh, okay.
Bother.
I've already done
Good things
a
from it.
commentary. We did a commentary for it, but I lost the recording because Streamer was deleting the recordings after a few days.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Let me see. Here's Beck, our side-splitting British giantess, rejoins us again from her long honeymoon with her gloriously handsome tall bard.
Yep, that's me.
I gotta get a fucking new intro. First off, giantess needs to leave the dictionary for you, done. I would stop it. Second, I'm not much as honeymoon is a lovely thing for you to call it. That no, thank you. Anyway.
That's happening next year. That's next year, done. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Let's not, So,
I do like how you, for a second, you're just gonna say Becca, and then you're like, no. I need to give her a fucking title.
just call her brightness.
No.
Yeah.
No, he has to fucking just, yeah. Oh my god.
Dude, someone's gonna one day make a supercut of every intro of Becca's.
What even is that thing?
That is
not my thing. It's
Dr.
actually, it's very specific. It's not actually from, it is from the show itself, but it's actually like a recording that is played in the show.
Which show?
In Doctor Who. It's like it's a plot device that is used in the show. Is this recording of the Doctor talking to another character through a TV? It's a timey-wimey thing because he's only talking half the conversation and the person on the other side of the TV is talking to him because time travel. Haha, he knows what she's going to say because it was recorded. Haha.
Oh, good stuff.
So, James Knighton, it is actually more because I can say pretty much anything, and the intro will say, "Yes, that's me." That's the reason why she needs to get a new one.
Yeah, I picked this. Did not realize what it would cause when I picked it all those months ago. Didn't realize that literally everything Dunn says before that intro comes in is validated by the fucking intro, and I have to sit there and go.
I want that to be your intro forever.
You didn't know Brat Lord back then.
Yeah, how foolish I was. I did.
Well, I could always make it this.
I am far too awkward and ridiculous to be the White Witch.
If you'd done that
never.
under my swear,
I would stumble
Yeah,
through my words, fall over, and then drop the staff thing because my wrists are too weak. There we go.
Rebecca, my intro
Yeah.
was of a beast roaring out of pure anger. I'm currently dead inside, anger unable to come within me. I don't think that's accurate to me. I don't see why the White Witch can't be accurate to you.
And Tark
No,
probably
I would say that if that's not accurate to you, it shouldn't be your intro in the same way that the White Witch shouldn't be mine.
Well, Tark disagrees with you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Does he?
So that's
Did he disagree?
well, he made mine the killing of Rhaegal.
She starts sharpening her knives. It's like, oh, so he disagrees with me, does he?
He thinks I'm the White Witch, really?
Oh,
No,
I
he just
remember.
thinks you're hot. At least I think he does.
I would hope so.
No, not the BBC White Witch. The BBC White Witch is crazy. She's clearly nuts. You remember her?
I mean, I'd love to be Tilda Swinton. I'm just not, okay?
Who is, though? I'm definitely not Tilda Swinton, mostly because I do not possess the requisite anatomy. Or British accent, or acting talent.
Yeah, I don't even look like her.
Don't you? Honestly, Valerian, up until this point, I had honestly had in my head, whenever I imagined the human that Valerian might be, to obviously be a replica of Tilda Swinton.
I must disabuse you of that notion.
That referring to Valerian's human reminds me of a furry, and I'm like, Valerian can't be a furry. He's too much of a boomer.
Why did you say that? Aspiring.
Because that is literally how everyone talks with a furry. Oh, so this is your human.
Oh no. Please.
Like, it's literally how everyone talks to rags.
Oh god. Okay. Anyway.
So Wheel of Time.
It's shiny.
Do we? I will bully whoever I want to fucking bully. Okay, Space, shut up.
We all appreciate her bullying. It means she loves us.
Hi guys, Swan, Sanche, X-Moraine. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
the thing.
That was so steamy. Like, oh my god, yeah.
Bullying builds character. Do it more.
Please stop. Please stop.
Bully your children, bully your friends. It'll make them stronger in the long run, and they will thank you for it.
Yeah. For the very, very, very simple reason
Yes, because suffering is good for the soul.
Yeah,
That's steamy.
I agree.
Therefore,
Alrighty.
you must make Bright Lord suffer.
well, yeah. Honestly, honestly,
it's good for the soul.
honestly,
And then
my
it just
anger
shows this.
at Dark Souls is more than my anger at this. Because
I'm still making a
a
supercut for that, mate.
What would really annoy you, Bright Lord, so we'll know not to do it?
I need to do that today. You know what? I'm gonna fucking do it today after this. I'm just gonna make the Dark Souls Done Debt supercut.
Well,
Lol.
Camp Valerian, I was an LDS missionary in the middle of the Bible Belt for 2 years. Nothing you do or say to me can possibly compete
I'm
with
not
what I
going to
got from
convert.
the evangelical Christians out there.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to convert and you're jammed in hell. How was that? Was that annoying?
No, I literally got a couple of idiot frat boys make the finger at me and yell, screw the big man upstairs, Satanism 666 all the way.
Oh, that must have been a riot.
That sounds like edgy boy 90s. And even then it sounds tame. Jesus. Come on.
Well, I didn't. I cleaned the language significantly.
Even so, like, I don't know. Maybe atheism is just cringe, but or at least like expressing it sounds cringe.
Yeah.
no matter how you put it.
Yeah, and
I
we were
don't
just
know.
on our bikes, and they were in a car, and they just like made the finger.
That's just
Yeah.
really sad. I mean, it is you. If they were doing it because it was you, fair the fuck enough. But
They had never seen me before. They just saw They just saw a pair of missionaries, and
you
just
surely
decided
didn't
to
look
do
at your
it.
face and go, "Oh, I bet he's a fucking bellend."
They didn't know.
Well,
They didn't know.
Maybe I had a bit of a. I had to shave my beard since I was a missionary, and now I have a much fuller beard, so I don't look like I'm a teen. I didn't look like I was a bellend. At least I don't think I did.
I mean, I was more referring to them being able to see your soul of.
My
Yeah.
cringe soul.
He
Your
had-
cringe soul.
He hadn't forced him to watch any rubbish shows or films, so
I actually didn't know what was good and what was bad back then.
I was blind to the good and bad shows. Now I can see.
Dunn looks like a man again.
I am being warned by James Knighton, give it time, wait till Blight Town, and I'm like, oh fuck.
so what's Blight Town? Is that in this show or a different show?
So I don't know what that is. My assumption is Blight Town is a thing in the show that we have not gone to that has been leaked.
I have heard whisperings that there are leaks, so
Yeah.
yes.
So
Episode 5. Anyone remember what happened?
I remember I had to watch it 3 times. So
I remember
You
that
poor
there
boy.
I remember that there was lesbians. I remember that.
That was episode 6, not 5.
Oh right.
I
I don't remember anything about episode 5.
Oh, Blight Town and Dark Souls. Oh, okay.
Should
That
I
makes
wait
sense.
until you finish the game to make that thing?
You could just make it part 1 and just put it out sequentially. Just
Come on,
Probably.
Dun. Just hire Aspiring as your editor, and there we go. He'll just do you a series.
I don't want to be required to edit all of Dun's videos. That'll be pain.
Yeah, especially since we have like over 50 commentaries in my backlog. Many of which I need, and I lost 32 when it got when my Rumble account got taken down for abrupt because apparently suddenly Rumble decided to care about copyright.
Well,
Episode
Now-
7 and 8 were purged, it seems. Some of them
So,
were purged.
I guess Blight Town is infamous for just destroying your computer.
And players probably.
okay.
Insanity.
So episode 5. What happened in episode 5?
I can give a summary. Most of the gang arrives in Tarvalin. We spend a lot of time with Stepan and Lan, the warder who kills himself at the end.
Oh, right. That
Oh,
useless crap.
That guy I keep forgetting exists.
Yeah. And Matt and Rand meet Loyal, son of Aron, son of Holland.
The living bush.
Who looks really weird.
I like his
And-
voice.
His voice is great. I just think his like weird hair and the fact that he only has just a slightly weird nose.
This is an
Yeah.
interesting commentary on the
Like,
show. He has
living-
weird hair and a weird nose.
Let me be clear. The size of Loyal compared to his book self is like the size difference between Becca and Tarek.
What I was saying, Ian,
He's,
You don't know how what?
well, Tarek is 6'6" and Becca's model tall.
anyway, getting
Why-
back
Why
to
is model tall? That's not a number. Shut up.
It is a very specific number. It's 5'10". All models
Okay.
are 5'10". Hadn't you realized that?
Anyway,
Whatever.
as I'm trying to say, which is on topic, I was mentioning during the commentary that Loyal looked like he could be out of the BBC Narnia.
He kind of does, yeah.
Ah. But yeah, I still don't get what Aspiring was trying to say with that. But okay.
Loyal is really short compared to his book self.
Okay.
Loyal
Okay.
Is 8
So-
feet tall.
Where's the Prezi? Why is the Prezi not up anymore?
I was actually pulling up images, artwork of Loyal.
Okay. Fair enough.
Looks much better.
I don't know. It's hard to do these things in live action.
But it's not like
Yeah.
they failed at a good design. They just made a bad design.
I'm kind of liking the actor. I'll be honest, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, the design isn't the greatest.
Becca, please tell me one thing about Loyal that isn't part of his design. Tell me something of his character.
I don't know. I just remember watching it and going, "Huh, the actor's okay."
He says amusing things sometimes.
Did
Like,
they
he-
actually say that in the show?
Yes, they did say that people in Tarvalon threw rocks. Well, actually chased him with knives.
Fuck!
Okay, so that doesn't make sense because Ogier go to Tarvalon fairly frequently.
Okay.
There are Ogier rooms, and the Ogier
So-
are allowed and even in the show it said the Ogier are allowed in the White Tower grounds.
So is this another case of the confusion about the discrimination that they have with the classism thing that they don't know what to do with?
Well, no, I think it's just a problem that the location they're supposed to be is Kamelian, and that's what happened to him there, because Kamelian is a normal
Okay.
city that's paranoid.
And they
But
don't
they're
have Ogier go around. They don't have Ogier.
Yeah, so they're trying to merge two settings. The problem is those two settings are not the same in any way.
Oh,
They
I see. So
also- Go for it, Valerian.
this is just that this is an adaptation problem then.
Yes,
Kinda,
because
yeah.
so there are 3 major cities in the world that actually have Ogier steading fairly close to them, or at least Ogier will come to them frequently. And those 3 cities are Kyran, Tyr, and Tarvalon. To the point, so frequently, in fact, they have special Ogier rooms that are built for these things.
So who looks
They
better?
could have just said that when he went to Kamelian before Tarvalon, and that's what happened to him there. But instead, they said the people of Tarvalon did that. It's like, no,
So
you
who-
dumbasses, you can't have both.
Who looks better? Show, God, the Loyal in this show or Golem in the Soviet Hobbit?
Soviet
Oh,
Hobbit.
oh God. I don't think I even saw that. I saw the Soviet Lord of the Rings. That was cool. That was an experience.
That was a drug dream. That was literally-
Gandalf's Fringe was the highlight.
I'm just remembering I'm just remembering Lothlorien and how it looked like a wild drug party.
I'm remembering how freaking the Shire looked like my school Christmas play.
There he is.
You know, I honestly prefer this to Loyal. At least it's an attempt at something.
Isn't
Oh
that?
dear.
Yeah,
He looks more like Puddleglum than Gollum, to be fair, but
yeah.
He just
kinda.
looks really cheap.
it's the green that's making me think Puddleglum. And the clothing. The clothing is very Puddleglum.
Well, at least with Puddleglum, you have the always amazing Tom Baker.
Honestly, Tom Baker's Puddleglum is like it's one of the greatest decisions anyone ever made.
You know what's mildly amusing? Well,
Mhm.
all the time we've been technically talking on the episode 5, we've
Oh,
barely
hey,
said
Harris,
anything about it. We barely said anything about episode 5.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
because this is actually a massive cut of several things in the books. But not to talk about it as I'll try to keep talking about it as an adaptation for another time, but let's just talk about it as a show. But basically what happened, the important plot points that happen are Egwene and Perrin are captured by White Cloaks because it's the second time this guy has seen these two in a month.
A month.
And so he thinks that Egwene can channel.
Oh,
So
this is where.
So he grabs them and then starts torturing Perrin in order to try and get Egwene to channel because he has really flimsy reasoning for wanting them to do it.
He is
Okay.
also doing this very close to Tar Valon.
But
Well,
he's
yeah.
evil, so like he just does the evil thing. There you go.
He has, and he was pissed.
Okay, if I may say something.
Go for it.
Thank you. Finally, God.
Yeah.
Where was I? I know we're not talking about the books, and I haven't read them, but Shad mentioned that was totally different in the books. They actually had a good reason because Perrin
Killed.
killed one of them for starters, and also they were a lot further away from Tar Valon, which it's really weird having them right outside of Tar Valon. And on top of that, they don't like the fact that he's close with wolves because they think wolves are evil because wolves have to do with the Dark One or Dark Friends or something.
Yeah, there's a lot
Okay.
more to make sense in the book. Than this
Fair
one,
enough.
though, he's just like, I have seen you twice, therefore you are a channeler. I'm going to fucking tie you down to a chair and interrogate you and your friend.
Well, like, so I'm taking this from the Sanderson interview because he was talking about the like Perrin as a character, and so I'm just taking it from this. But correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, what the writers did was to kind of they created the creation of the wife thing. They created the wife thing to give a more intense thing for Perrin to feel guilty about than the killing of the White Cloaks, but in doing so, remove the reason why they get captured. Basically, that's what I'm taking from the Sanderson interview and from actually seeing it.
That's
Like,
stupid.
yeah, and I'm still like, why did you give him a wife? I mean, I think Sanderson was talking about how basically the White Cloaks thing is quite, not elaborate. What's the word?
Complex?
Yeah, so yeah, it takes a little bit longer to go through, you know. So maybe it was a bit of a time thing, but at the same time, it's like just do it simpler version. I don't know, like.
Also, why did he need to feel guilty about anything? He didn't feel guilty about killing the two White Cloaks. They killed his friend.
Fair,
Um,
but I don't know what it was. You know, it was a longer thing than just he feels guilty, but like more like he is scared of his own strength or whatever.
Oh yeah,
But-
something about that. The one interesting thing is that Perrin evidently is named in the books after the Slavic deity Perun, and all these people have names that come from earlier, like myth or legend and stuff. So that was a very interesting thing that Brandon Sanderson revealed, even though not
Mhm.
directly relevant to the episode.
Mhm.
Honestly, just in isolation, hearing him talk about Perrin was one of the things that made me go, maybe I should actually pick up the books at some point. So it's not this show. It was yeah, the guy who wrote some of it talking
I
about
assure you, the books are much better. Or well, I can confirm the book is better. I'm still on the second one.
I was completely under that impression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They massively cut out a very tense moment from the books where okay, so they've cut out a character from the book that acts as Perrin's mentor in terms of learning how to talk to wolves.
Parents' Pentor.
Can we go up a bit to Space Junk's comment about sidelining the male characters?
In a moment, but basically, like the distaste for killing comes when Perrin considers Mercy killing Egwene because they're being chased by a group of ravens that killed a fox and basically eviscerated it, and he doesn't want that to happen to her. And before they escape into a dark friend, shadow spawn free zone called the Steading, he considers Mercy killing her to make it so she doesn't have to suffer through dying through that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, go for it, Becca.
I can't remember what I was going to fucking say.
Something about Tarek, I assume.
No, actually, it wasn't. But sometimes that's true.
I do remember being like that. They just fucking Egwene. I prefer cunt Egwene from the book to this nothingness.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
I guess that goes to show that, like, it's not about going, this character would be my friend. It's going, this character has something interesting going on.
It's like she frustrates me so much, and that's a bit better than this one that I'm just like, I could meet you on the street 10 times and I wouldn't remember you.
To be fair, like, I distinguish in the show between Egwene and Nynaeve because, like, they're the two characters I forget the most. Mainly because I'm like, Nynaeve is the one with more personality.
Yeah, kind of.
It's like, those two are the ones that frustrate me probably the most in the entire book. And in this one, they still are slightly frustrating, but other than that, I don't feel anything. Because they don't even have good moments.
Also, consider the irony that we're talking about the fact that they focus on the female characters more and sideline the male characters, and we immediately start talking about how forgettable the female characters are. It's like it's really not working. It's really not working that they focus on them more and yet you forget them more.
But the male characters are even more forgettable. I mean, I can tell Rand from the others because Rand is a redhead, and he alliterates with redhead. So
honestly,
I can tell. I can
only recognize Perrin, honestly, now.
I honestly, my thought process with them, well, I'm trying to separate from the fact that I've read a bit of the book, so I know enough to know the characters' names and know roughly what their personalities are supposed to be. So I'm trying to separate from that. But in terms of, like, the show, I remember Perrin the most, yeah. And then Matt is curly-haired guy, and Rand is guy who looks like he's walked out of Riverdale. Yeah.
What is?
It's okay that she died. She was evil. Fuck you, Reddit.
Where does it even say that? Is that something that
it's on Reddit? Yes. So there are a couple. So this is kind of an odd theory that's been kind of making the rounds. The thought process is that Layla was about to kill Perrin.
I don't give a fucking shit. Point is, right, I don't care what the implication of her is. What I care is that she's barely introduced, you know virtually nothing about her, and then it's like, this is a massive thing that affects Perrin all the way through. It's like, but you didn't set it up, you didn't tell us anything about her. She has no character. And your theories could be true and they could be not true equally, because we know nothing about this character at all.
Also, why does this theory solve exactly? Perrin thinks he just killed his wife, because he did. It doesn't matter if he doesn't know if she was trying to kill her. I don't believe we see a weapon in her hands. Her being a dark friend doesn't change shit.
Yeah, it doesn't change Perrin's perspective. All it does, and it doesn't change the problem, which is that we know nothing about her because she got no focus. It's just like, there was no setup to begin with, so even if there is a payoff that she's, it doesn't. There was no setup though.
You created her just to die. She is literally fridged.
The guy did act his when he finally gave him a chance to show angst over having killed her, he did a good job of acting it. But then
Yeah.
they have it like right by side with the torture thing, which is a little distracting. I mean, if you want to show angst, don't have him being tortured because it sort of like really muddies the waters there.
Yeah, they kind of shoved it in the middle of a lot of stuff, and which again kind of adds to. It's just such a disrespectful thing that it's just sort of like shoved in. Like, focus on it. If you're gonna do something like that, fucking focus on it. You know, don't shove it in the sideway because, you know, bless that actor. He was acting his little heart out because, you know, that was good. Because that's what you would be like if, God forbid, you killed your own wife. Like, good God. But there's just like, there's no room for that to breathe at all. You know, there was no room for it to breathe before she died. There was just a sudden thing that he killed her. And then, it's just really pissing me off how, like, pushed to the side it is, considering how monumental it should be.
Yeah, he's angsting about it, and then next thing you know, whoop, sorry, we got to move on to the torture.
They just needed action to make it quote unquote interesting, because I cannot for the life of them imagine why people would actually be engaged in an emotional scene where he's just letting out his heart, where it's like, I might die, I need to tell you this shit I did. It's been weighing on me for the entirety of our travels. But nah, let's torture the guy and have him confess during that.
I know, it's like, the only thing I will say is that I do like that it's like the trigger that gets Egwene to like grow a pair, basically, and it gets her to do the right thing. You know, that's cool, I guess. There's lots of bullshit around that, but I do like that, like, you know, in the dialogue she has, like, you know, trying to, you know, it's a little bit lackluster, the dialogue. It's like, you know, it wasn't your fault. I mean, I guess I like where that came from. I don't know that the execution is very good, but
about her growing a pair, she fucking stands up to main villain guy, and it's just like, no, this is Egwene is not like Egwene is snarky to people who she is fine with. She is not normal. She does not try and intimidate or talk back to people who are very willing to kill her. It's one, stupid, and two, just very out of character. She knows better than to do that.
It also means that the impact when she does make a decision and goes, right, this is what I'm going to do, is a little bit like, it's very wishy-washy, because she's sort of been being confident and then not being decisive, and then, you know, it's like, well, what are you doing, Egwene? You know, at least if she'd been like really intimidated and really scared, and then like in her fear had found out about Perrin's thing and gone, fuck, I need to do something for him, he needs to live a good life, that would have been really good. But
she also shouldn't.
Also, there's an element of, she said, I'll come back in my next life and split you in half. So, couple things. That's assuming you're reborn instantly, and by the time you're old enough to know, even if you do know, he's going to be 60s or dead by the time you're old enough to take your new body, your new self is able to take vengeance. That's totally if they're reborn instantly, which is not something that happens. It took 3,000 years for the dragon's soul to be reincarnated.
Shit. Well, if it was an instant thing and he was in his 60s, that would be a kind of funny thing for him to be like scared of, for, you know, like sitting there for 20 years going, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh my god. You know, but like, you've got to actually have that be an actual thing that is a really, really big possibility, you know.
It's like the Hux thing, where it's like he's not at all, he's terrified of something that's just so unlikely to happen.
The Shad was very favorable to the whole parents' wife thing. Is he still like that? Because I haven't finished the episode 5 review yet.
If he's favorable to that, I am going to fucking yell as you're out.
Also, yeah, because like,
I think that he was fine with it as a change, but I think that like he was thinking that they would do something with it, and now he's like kind of pissed that they've done very little with it.
Yeah, see, like, I was gonna say, like, if that's the one thing that Sanderson's like, fuck, I don't like this. I don't think he's like fuck no on it. It's more like he implied that he argued about it quite a bit.
Which hopefully I'll be able to-
Sanderson and Shadow Brooks are unfortunately hopeful people and do not realize this show was shit from the beginning and are just trying to cope.
Well, Shad. Sanderson said that 5 and 6 were his favorites, and Shad blew a gasket in the last episode. In episode 5.
Oh.
Like, Shad legit blew multiple gaskets. He was pissed.
I need to watch his coverage, damn it. I need to see this.
I do too. I need a smile.
Yeah.
I'm dead inside from this like inane bullshit. I need a smile from a crazy Aussie.
So I'll give you a reference. This is his thing at the very beginning of Loki, at the beginning of Loki finale review.
I'm pissed.
I loved their Loki reviews. They were so good. I love that.
Imagine the volume of that times 5.
God, I loved when they were doing Loki. Though I loved that they had a good back and forth. That he had to like kind of formulate why he thought things because he had unconvinced mates sitting around him. Which, although some of them said slightly stupid shit, you know, keeps him in line, keeps him thinking, and that was fun. I enjoyed those.
So I actually have it pulled up. Allow me to show you for at least a little bit of amusement. I definitely am going to grab this clip at some point. But
so before we start,
Sit down.
Chad, you have something you'd like to scream?
I am so pissed!
Oh, Shad. Oh, bless your heart. Oh,
I love you, buddy.
Poor Shad.
What have you done?
Aww.
Why are you getting so angry about a show? You look ridiculous.
Yeah, and people say that often get as angry about the shows that they like that portray important things. Like Wheel of Time is special. Okay,
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest, fantasy stories of recent memory. Really, like there's some great ones. You got Lord of the Rings. Wheel of Time has achieved a status near Lord of the Rings, which is just, and to see it, you fellow watchers on the, and full of errors. And so now our watch begins.
Oh dear.
And we.
Oh, poor Shad. Bless him.
And that goes on for another 2.5 hours or so.
Bless
Yeah.
his soul.
Actually,
Yeah.
nearly 3 hours. Nearly
Oh,
3
God.
hours.
Nearly 3 hours.
12 minutes short of 3 hours. And I imagine they edited stuff out.
Oh dear.
It,
Poor
like,
Oz sat there going, it's okay, Shad.
no, he's egging Shad on the whole time.
Okay, I mean, to be fair.
It is funny. I feel bad for him, but I'd egg him on too.
So Shad will drink alcohol when the sun explodes. Same as me. Like, we...
Well, I
Sam,
will
honestly,
drink
with me.
alcohol right now because I can't cope with this Wheel of Time bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, you're not Mormon. You're not morally and religiously obligated not to drink alcohol.
Yeah, well, Mormons be weird, so.
No offense.
Yeah, and we're healthier than most people.
The
The
Shad
show?
Woman?
Oh, not in the mind.
I have
Nothing
no.
on the mind. Is Shad Mormon too?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, Shad's
Yeah.
very devout LDS.
Oh,
It is.
wow. That's weird.
I have no religious or
Yeah,
moral
they're everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like Brandon, me, and Shad are all geeky Mormon authors.
The more
Yeah, I'm really kind of confused what drags you towards fantasy, I'll be honest. It's a weird little conspiracy there.
it is amusing how many Mormons I've known just from Sanderson.
Yeah, it's just a bit odd. It's like, why are so many of you? What are you
It's
doing
like-
here? I've never met a fucking Mormon in real life in my life until this. What is this?
In fact, yeah, basically
Actually, no, I have one.
until like the last year, the only Mormon whose name I knew was Mitt Romney. Well, apart from Joseph Smith and Brigham Young, the one whose name I knew was Mitt Romney.
Hey, you want to know how completely what's the fucking word? Oh fuck, the word's gone. Insignificant. That's the word. Do you want to know how insignificant Mormons are, Dan? Tarek was talking the other day, and he tried to remember what religion his grandma was, and he couldn't remember if she was Mormon or Methodist. Okay?
That's weird to Methodists. No offense. No offense. No offense. He's not saying anything. That's a bad sign. But then he's too hard to offend, so
I'm actually grinning right now because this is hilarious.
good. I knew it. It's impossible to offend him.
If there's something
Yeah.
Mormons we can relate, it's just the alcohol. Fuck alcohol. What?
Right,
Are you-
are the Antichrist?
You are the anti.
You're Californian, the closest.
Wow.
I've heard some pretty bad things about California, admittedly.
It's like the cities are shit. I'm in a nice suburban bubble,
Woo.
so it's fine. I've
Yeah.
like here's the thing. Someone told me doesn't California have like shit on the ground, BLM posters everywhere. I'm like, no. And they're like, you're lying. And I'm like, and they asked which area I lived in. I'm like, I live in a suburban bubble thing that's just filled with Indians and Asians. And they're like, oh yeah, never mind, you're in one of the good spots. And then I paid attention going to San Francisco. I'm like, holy shit, they were right. This is basically all the cities in California.
I'm feeling like it's a bit like when people assume Britain is London. London be shit place.
It's like there's
It's
good
funny.
places.
It's funny. We went to London for like 3 days in the middle of the trip, and it was weird how our moods just went down because it's just a depressing fucking place.
Like New York City. Kind of like New York City.
Yeah, that's what Tarek kept saying. He was like, "This is just like it's like New York."
Except that London was a lot cooler than New York.
Yeah.
The historical bits are really cool in London, and there's some bits that are looked after, and it's kind of cool. But the Tesco we went into, it was like, why does this feel like a prison and not a supermarket?
Come to the States. We have better things here.
No, we don't.
Like
But
all in due
anyway.
time.
Don't go to popular places. If you go to California, avoid popular cities because they're shit. Go to the less popular ones. We're nice.
DC is pretty good.
Could
At
be a
least
wee
the
bit far
downtown
away
piece.
from California, but
Downtown
The-
DC
the
is
only-
pretty good.
The best thing about this place, honestly, is just the fact I don't have to deal with snow or hurricanes ever.
Yeah, downtown DC is pretty good. Also, like you said, we hardly ever get hurricanes.
hey space,
Yeah.
hey space, Tarek Downs whiskey.
Yeah. Meanwhile, fucking Florida is just constantly being hit over and over by fucking Poseidon.
Yeah, I wouldn't live anywhere near Florida.
I am scared of Florida. This is gonna be
Same.
fun.
And that's just the weather. It's not even going into the fact that Florida is legit fucking insane.
I keep hearing. I'm like, am I mental?
Mhm.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's
So, Wheel of Time, episode 5. There's very little to talk about, really, because so little plot advancement happens other than Perrin and Egwene are captured by White Cloaks and escape 5 minutes later because Egwene burns through her restraints and a pack of wolves attack the White Cloak camp.
By the way, I don't believe Egwene should be able to do that yet. In her first book, she doesn't channel at all.
She channels once to create fire.
And then fails every
off-screen.
other attempt.
We've covered all the. Actually, no. I was going to say we've covered all the bits that I remember in terms of events, but there were a couple others. There was Logain laughing madly at one point, and there was the political thing with the Aes Sedai and the Red Lady being Leandrin being really creepy and. Let's how about you join sides with me?
Oh, there was guy who killed himself because he was Watcher. That was sad.
That guy.
Who I did not care about because he didn't develop shit.
That guy.
I was sat there going, I'm really interested in this world building of the Warders and the, the Aes Sedai and like their connection and stuff. So I was trying to like lap up all of the information they could give me about that. It wasn't enough, but I was at least interested. I wasn't like feeling it a lot, but I at least kind of liked the guy who died, but there wasn't enough screen time for him. All the usual, really. Interesting idea, not explored.
It legit feels like a filler side episode that happens in like an anthology series where they focus on this one random character and where he's like the main character of the episode, and then he just never comes up again. He's not important. That's what it felt like.
I keep forgetting that guy existed and having to be reminded.
Same.
Yeah, partially because like he might as well be an original character because he's not really. Him and his Aes Sedai are in New Spring and they're barely characterized, and they just transplanted them and killed them off, just like in a completely different context. Like in the New Spring, they were killed by Dark Friend Aes Sedai who don't want Moraine, who are trying to hunt down the Dragon Reborn. That's the context in which Stephen and his Aes Sedai die in the books.
My brain legit turned off to avoid being spoiled.
Well, it's not a spoiler, it's a prequel. So, and the prequel's there's no real tension in it because it's a prequel.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But
this episode really was boring shit.
I mean, I can see why they used it, because the idea, I guess it's like a way to visually illustrate the Watcher Aes Sedai bond, and it means they can introduce the man-hating thing for the Reds. I can see what they were trying to do. It's just there isn't enough substance. It just feels very bare bones. I can see the reasoning why they put it in the show, but it feels like it's not going anywhere very fast, and that it's just sort of not really covering the ground that they really should be.
Yeah. And Rand and Matt just arrive in Tar Valon and meet Loyal and meet up with Nynaeve, and Nynaeve just talks to Leandrin, who tries to recruit her, and it's just barely anything plot relevant happens, and the major plot relevant thing is the warder, Egwene and Perrin escape, and that's only like a total of like 15 minutes, I think, as opposed to the 30 that we spend with Steppen and Lan, who barely even have much of a relationship.
But apparently it was enough to drive Lan to utter angst grief when the chap dies. But what was I going to say about, the city looked nice.
It did. It looked like Shadow Logoth.
Well, yes. Coincidentally.
Yeah, it's like the city looks nice. It looks nice because it's their nice design that they used before. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah, they don't, like, at one point, they just kind of, like, there's a shot where Tar Valon in the morning, and it's empty streets, and it just looks like Shadow Logoth.
But Shadow Logoth is gray, sorry.
Yeah, it's filthy. Tar Valon is clean, so
they just took off the dust. That's what they did. Okay.
Yeah.
Well done, show. Did really well.
You managed to clean your set.
I don't know if it was just me, but at least with the Lan and what's his name? Other guy.
Steppen.
Stefan. There we go. What I got from I mean, I kind of got the impression they had a friendship going on, but what I got from Lan being angsty was the kind of parallel that he was also a watcher, and he understood the bonds. But maybe I was reading too much into it again because I was interested in the world building. But
Yeah. So
it wasn't giving me much, so I was kind of just making it up in my own head to try and amuse myself, because I was like, I actually need to remember the events of this episode because I just keep not remembering the events of these episodes because they're so fucking boring.
So that's actually interesting. Were you assuming that like Lan had a magical bond with Steppen, or what was?
No, I was assuming he was like really empathizing because they had a because he also had a similar bond with Moraine.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that he would of all people he would know, and seeing as he's our like go-to watcher that we are most familiar with, that's how we the audience experience.
Do you think that it's realistic that he would react like that, considering that he has been a career soldier for most of his life?
Who?
I think it was a bit over the top. I think there's ways you could kind of do it a bit more subtly, but yeah, that's just more what my interpretation was. It didn't seem crazy out of the ordinary, but it was a bit over the top. I think you could have like a hardened soldier sort of reaction that was a little bit less like angsty. You could have like holding it in as like a kind of trying to carry on with normal for a little bit longer to kind of, apart from anything, for tension.
I don't think Lan should have cried. I think he should just have remained as is, with maybe a few little hints that he felt bad. If you want to have that scene where he breaks down, you better make sure that relationship's important. Because the only person who could die that make me think he would react like that is Moraine. Nobody else.
Yeah, and you kind of want to hold that in for if that's the thing. Not that I know if that's the thing, but you want to hold in his ability to.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hold in those tears for when he either thinks Moraine's dead, if she is, if she's in danger, if he's worried about something like that. That's fair. But then, to be fair,
as soon as he feels her die, he will feel her die at the moment of her death.
Well,
I guess.
Yeah. Well, I was more saying if there's some danger involved and he's scared for her, maybe. But having said that, considering I can see the logic of it just on the level of, again, it's supposed to be him thinking, wow, what would I be like if Moraine died? Like, I can see that's why it brings out emotion in him, but I think I do agree it probably should be more reserved emotion. Like, it should probably be the most emotional you've seen Lan up to this point, but I don't think... Yeah, I feel like he's the sort of character you save that for a really extreme thing.
Yeah, and also like the fact that he's been a career soldier, killing things from the time he was a teenager, and he's like mid-40s now.
So he'd be used to people dying.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think there's a point in the books where he actually talks about a time where he led 500 men into battle, and half of them were dead, and he said, "Say a prayer for the dead and ride on."
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, if different choices were made, some would have lived, others would have died, and others just as many would have died. Like, he's had to deal with massive, and like he's had to, and like all of like. He actually had like a group of foster dads that like trained him how to use the sword. By the time basically how to use every weapon available to kill things, all of them are dead by this point in the story.
So serially, I assume he had several serially.
He had several foster dads because his kingdom was destroyed when he was a baby.
But I mean, why did he have several? Why?
Because they were his dad's bodyguards.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Aw, that's actually kind of cute.
it's kind of weird, but hey.
It's
Well-
kind of. I feel like I'm getting Mistborn vibes of like all of Vin's sort of like foster family of all of these adult dudes looking after her.
Yeah. Since like basically like I think like about 13 or 14, it was like a pretty hefty group of them rode away from the kingdom of Malkir before it was destroyed by Trollocs. And they were carrying the baby Lan back to Faldara, and I think like only like six or seven managed to get back, but the baby himself was unharmed.
That's very cool. See, I was up to this point. If I had to pick if I had to like stretch my brain to not be bored enough to pick a favorite character when watching Wheel of Time, it's probably Lan. But that's like okay. So I see where the shadow that is Lan comes from, like actual coolness with cool backstory.
So it was 20. So it was 20. 20 left, and only 5 reached the city, all with all sustaining wound. With everyone having been pretty severely injured.
Badass as fuck.
Yeah. And then from there, like they taught him how to use weapons from the time he was very young.
Well, like I say, badass as fuck.
And he's been fighting since he was 16. He's been fighting Trollocs from the time he was 16. And he's like late to mid 40s right now.
Huh. Yeah, no, I like that archetype of character. He's a cool human.
Yeah.
Lan is mentioned as being the best of the best.
Yes, he is. At one point, there's a guy who's known him for a really long time, and he said Lan is the best warder, and that means he's the best fighter in the world.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
See, I want to feel when I'm watching this fucking show, I want to actually feel like this, like none of the characters feel like they have like enough oomph to be the best at anything, if that makes sense, because they're just sort of not doing enough for me to notice. You know, just like there's no extremes at all. It's just like, huh. Everything is just like, huh. Yeah.
What if I told you there's a relationship that's going to happen in the main cast that does not include Egwene?
Huh. Is this book or oh, I guess book, yeah.
I assume it's going to happen. Do you think the show has done anything to make you guess who it could be?
Which boy-girl pairing have spent the most time together out of these episodes?
Oh wait, is it Lan and Nynaeve? I know they're setting that up in the show, but
Seems like it, yeah.
okay.
Love how it took you so long.
Okay.
I was like, wait, pairings, what? Okay.
Okay, episodes.
I'm
6.
interested that that's actually a book thing, because I was wondering if that was just them being trying to beat Riverdale again.
If I may say something important, then.
Yeah, go for it.
And no comment. Shut up.
Oh God!
As I was saying, I didn't notice. I didn't know before what the title of this thing is. Flame of Tar Valon, but immediately as soon as I saw that, I thought that's kind of an unfortunate title for this episode. It's sort of why am I reading something into that or
Maybe I don't know, but
Well,
holy
I
shit,
guess-
this show is ruined on your knees.
my
God.
reign
I was
is the
oh, I
flame
was
of
thinking-
Tarvalin.
Well, I guess Flame of Tarvalin is a burning bush reference now.
No
Oh,
comment.
God, can you not? We don't need it, right?
Every-
we just don't.
We don't need
not
we don't
Every
need
time
you.
someone
Hey,
says
Brentwood,
on your knees, I'm gonna
we don't need
remember
you,
this
Brentwood.
episode.
You're gonna hear it in Rosamund Pike's voice.
Oh God, no. Oh God. I thought it was the Amarone who said on their knees.
No,
Well, first first the Amaryllis says on your knees, and then Moraine, when they're alone, she's like, on your knees,
Oh.
babe.
Oh
What?
yeah, there we go.
Really?
But like the second one has more implications to it.
I
Really?
submit to you in public, you submit to me in the bed.
Yes, this is more than we needed to know about their love life. Help!
It's
No
like
comment. Oh God! Help!
the queen is a submissive.
No comment. Kill it. Help!
Oh my.
You want a good girl, but you need a bad pussy.
No!
Why?
No!
I reacted very loudly and audibly to that.
Kill him! Must end.
Jesus.
On your knees.
Oh, fuck.
End it. Kill it. No.
Kiss the
Help.
floor.
Help. No. Please no. Help.
Okay. Anyway, that happened in this episode, guys.
So, okay, so we get a lot of White Tower politics and aspersions to stuff that happens where the characters finally sort of get together. There's not much time devoted to it, and they all get to one centralized location, but most of the focus is on Moraine and the fact that she has a girlfriend.
Which good for her. You know, she's got a life beyond the Gandalfiness. You know?
Would
There
have
we
liked more
go.
on that, but man.
Yeah, we could have not rushed through it and just sort of gone, hey, look, she's just gonna go have sex scene. Ah, surprise! There we go. And now she's banished. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
But before,
Yeah.
before we go on that, I do want to go to the point where she is yelling at the red Aes Sedai because it is fucking bullshit. The queen, the Amaryllian seat, is mad that the red Aes Sedai and the rest of them did not. They gentled Logain, and she's mad about that, being like, I wanted him to have a fair trial. And they're like, he killed one of our sisters. He stabbed her through a fucking wall. And Amaryllian just responds with, the laws are not meant to protect you. They're meant to protect the common people. And I'm like, okay, so Logain is not a common person? And if your law says you can't attack back when you're about to die, then the law is bullshit. And this is actually the fucking hell. In the books, it actually does mention Aes Sedai can use whatever power they can justify if attacked. That's one of their 3 rules, along with don't lie.
Yeah, it's in the show as well.
So it's like
If they wanted to show her kind of giving out just rule, they needed a better example. They needed something actually morally ambiguous, you know, to make her have to make a difficult decision. Instead, it's her making a stupid decision that we can't work out her motivation behind. You know, I want to like her character, but I just have no fucking clue what's motivating her. She's just sort of like, she's what each scene needs her to be. You know, there's like one scene where she's being strict ruler. Then there's next scene where she's being girlfriend. And then there's another scene where she's being like, you know,
petty.
kind ruler, and there's like allusions to her being girlfriend. And then there's her being strict ruler again. And it's like none of those, apart from the 2 in the middle, particularly connect. And it just it's really annoying me because like the actress is amazing, and it doesn't know what it wants to do with her. It's forgetting that she's a character, and it's just using the other characters around her. It's annoying.
So
There's even a sense of potential pettiness because she was said to be at one of the blue Aes Sedai, and that she clearly favors Moraine. And I'm wondering, did you just want to fucking yell at a red Aes Sedai? Are you just beating her down because of that?
In which
Because you all
case,
really dislike them.
develop that a little bit more. Put a little bit more focus on it. Give an implication, because I like the idea that maybe she's a little bit too much. She's using a bit too much favoritism for Moraine, and then at the end maybe she goes a bit too far because she's realized her favoritism and needs to make an example of, no, it's not favoritism, I'm still punishing her, but they don't go into it enough. They don't go into her reasoning. It's just you just got to guess.
It's the problem of she doesn't have enough character to make us wonder. We wonder which part of her we've seen is making her decide this, and so she's too much of a blank slate. There could be a million reasons why she did it, some good, some bad, but we don't know which.
Speaking of pettiness, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know. I mean, when she is banishing Moraine, is she doing that because she thinks it's the right thing to do? Is she doing it to be fair, or is she doing it like it's a petty diss thing? You know what? That time we were together just now, it wasn't so great. So bye.
So, that Moraine actually requested to be exiled.
Well, still.
Well, since
things are getting confused.
Well, so that bit I think is relatively fine. Like, since Moraine does not want to be stuck in the White Tower, and that's what is likely to happen because the other Blue Sister came into her to talk in the sauna. And she said, "We need you in the White Tower."
The very Scottish lady, that
yeah.
one.
And so Moraine tries to get around that by asking Swan to make her punishment to be exiled, and so that she can perform her task.
That's fair.
Of destroying the Dark One.
I have a feeling we were talking over when that was said, so I think I missed that, but
that makes a bit of sense. Yeah, it's like because that was the thing with me. It's like being exiled is not a punishment for you, and she should know that. You actively stay away from the tower.
I still don't really. The reason for the punishment is still, that the punishment needs to be there in the first place. Is kind of like
she didn't reveal what you were doing, and it's like I can understand getting mad over that. It's like you're keeping secrets from me. What the fuck? But that's not necessarily banished worthy, or even like it's probably a scalding, but it's not like you're breaking any laws.
Yeah, it's like publicly scold them, maybe humiliate them a little bit if you're really strict. But come on.
And the funny thing is, she knows exactly what Moraine is doing. She's been in on. They were in on it from, like, the time that they heard the prophecy together.
So
go for it.
Well, it's kind of a gross question, but can the Amarillan leave the White Tower? She's stuck there.
She can. There have been times where she has gone on visits to kings and queens to try and ensure political harmony. There was one time where she went to Camelin, and she had to actually humiliate the Captain General of the Queen's Guard because she thought that there was a possibility for a king to be unified under one banner, but it actually turned out to be for naught because a farmer ended up killing the guy who is going to be the king of that. And then another time she comes up to visit another country in Faldara. That's actually when most of this scene with Moraine and Swan happens, is in the Great Hunt. They've just transplanted it here.
Okay. So they can continue their affair somewhere else.
Yeah, feasibly. It's just
Larry wants to know if he gets his lesbian watching.
His mid-40s and mid-50 lesbian action.
Gets his fix. He's got specific tastes, but
no comment.
The Sophie Okonedo looks very good for 53. Like, my mom was actually like, she was like, she's 50? No way.
Actually, the Moraine actress looks a little older than the Emerald actress does.
Interesting, because there's actually 10 years, 11 years of difference between them. Rosamund Pike is 42.
And it's
I
actually
suppose it's Moraine's got quite or Rosamund Pike's got quite sharp features, so maybe that kind of ages her a bit. But
she's very imposing and impressive looking. She doesn't look. I didn't think of her as being someone that would be getting steamy scenes with.
Well,
thank you for that, Valerian.
Don't mention it.
I've seen steamier. Honestly, I think that was just like more. Well, I don't think it was like steamy. I think it was like. Well, I think like it's just like you didn't think of her having a romantic and antic relationship.
Well, I didn't think of her.
You know what?
You know what?
You know what they did wrong. Although yes, you can imply sex between them. I don't care. Having said that, what would have probably been sweeter is if we just left it at them being like sweet and romantic. Like maybe we didn't need to imply that they then went on, or at least you might imagine they might do. But you know what I mean? Like because they were actually quite like fairly sweet, and I don't know whether that means a bit more. You know, it's like, oh, they have quite a tender, sweet relationship. Did we need to do the whole get on your knees thing? I know they're referencing an earlier scene, but like, could we have just stopped at them being just sort of, they're kind of cute though. I think that would got more people to be less. Wait, what?
It's Hollywood. Like they have to, like Game of Thrones did it too. They had to have Arya and Gendry couldn't be friends. They had to have sex.
I mean, I wasn't saying. I'm not saying get rid of. If you're going to do the relationship, you're going to say that they're, you know,
It seems crass.
But it's like you don't need to always jump to the sex bit. You can maybe do that after you've had a couple scenes with them, you know. But like, I thought it was really sweet up until and. It's not that there's a problem with it. It's just that like you don't need to jump to it straight away. You're still implying they have a romantic thing going on without going, hey, now's sex time.
I was agreeing with you. I was being sarcastic about Hollywood in general.
All right. No, I thought because you said they can't just be friends, and I was like, well, they don't even have to just be friends. That's what I was kind of jumping on.
No, I'm actually in favor of people just being friends. Like I was saying, friend zone is fun zone.
Friend, dear. But
so the implication is in the books that they are ex-girlfriends, but kind of the funny thing, like even in the companion, it said Moraine was not a lesbian; she just experimented.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. I mean, the way in Hollywood, everyone has to have sex. It gets really old. Why can't people just be friends or something? I actually 100% agree. Yeah, 150% agree, actually.
I mean, like I don't have a problem with having characters that are in sexual relationships. However, it doesn't mean that everyone has to be. But also, like, even if you've got characters that are having sex, you don't necessarily have to imply that on screen.
There's also kind of an element of, it seems as though the only thing they know how to do in this show to portray the person having a relationship is sex. Like,
it's like...
It ran in Egwene in episode 1.
Don't they understand that couples do... Might shock you, but couples do things other than having sex sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you do.
I mean, they can have them... You can have them, like... you can have them hanging out in the garden together and admiring the flowers. Why not?
Or just talk in the like weird dimensional hole, whatever that thing is.
You know, have them. Oh, look, you've got a hair in your face. Brush his hair gently out of their face, looking lovingly into each other's eyes. Look at that. You already know they're a couple. There we go. We're good, right? Like it doesn't take much.
I think a kiss is fine.
Yeah, exactly. That too. Whatever. But the point is, there's so many things. It's like you don't need to always make your signifier that this is a couple sex.
People don't always need to take off their clothes.
You know, I mean, that's all good and fun, but like, it's not the only thing.
Believe it or not, Hollywood, believe it or not,
Oh dear.
Yeah, I'm actually writing a book where a god is trapped in a human body and he's having to deal with human hormones because he keeps looking at the guy because he has to be around the person who's the guy's body that he possessed wife is around him, and he's having to deal with his host's lingering feelings for his wife, and he's never had to deal with sexual feelings as a god before.
That honestly kind of reminds me of Lucifer's in season 3, I believe, when the mom becomes actually season 2. The mom's just a really, really horny person and just fucks everybody.
Oh god.
Goddess of creation and everything, and she probably fucked more people than you can count.
ugh,
Oh,
so
dear.
tasteless.
Hmm.
It is a
Oh
bit,
dear.
but it's funny.
But basically, the idea is that like he is a god that gets put into the body of a human after that person has mostly died. But the problem is
Mostly died.
Yeah, the problem is some of his emotions were left behind, like his love for his wife, and now the god has to be around the man's wife, and she knows it's not him, and he's having to deal with a combination of human sexual love that he has, since gods in this world don't have sex. They basically, what will happen is they'll just, when a new god comes up, it'll basically be on the spiritual plane, and then another god will just make a body for them that they can inhabit.
Incidentally, Luster Chap is in the chat.
Yeah, I noticed him. I highlighted him earlier.
Yep.
I must be away from the hoo-ha.
Sup, dude.
Yeah, but yeah, then the other main thing that happens is Moraine fixes Matt and fixes his dagger addiction. Okay.
But it looks like he's still addicted at the end, or
Yeah, or like,
Or it's more that, from what I understand of you talking, it's they sort of just simplify it, so it's just like, hey, I've basically fixed it. He can't do this thing, but as long as he stays away from it, it's fine.
so
So
I
it's
imagine
like-
he's going to go back and grab it because at the end of the episode he doesn't. He stays behind and closes,
Well-
which means that
Well, the end of the episode is, I mean, I'm now you after you said it, I was like, okay, maybe that seems quite likely, but I was just like, wait, why? Have I missed something? The fuck? What's he? Why is her? What am I supposed to be thinking? Writers, explain.
also like he goes with them. It's part of the thing about Moraine's plan to find the Eye of the World. The Eye of the World is based around probability of finding it. Since it moves constantly, it's never in the same location.
and does it explain anywhere what it is?
It does explain in the books. It's really confusing though. Like even in world, it is a weird MacGuffin.
So it's one of those things you're not supposed to quite understand what it is. It just exists.
They explain what it is, but they explain what it is, but what it is in the context of the rest of the books doesn't really make sense.
Okay, fair enough.
So basically, in terms of the plot and what we need to know for the immediate future,
Is that for sure that basically the idea was that it is something that is the Eye of the World is basically something that is mentioned and is not explained until you actually get there at the end of the book. By Moraine. Moraine has been there once, and supposedly you can only go there once.
but why are they going there in the first place?
Here it is because, okay, so in the book it's because there have been two instances, one with the Tinkers and one with Loyal, where there have been 2 instances of people coming to other people and saying the Dark One is trying to get to the Eye of the World.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
In this, apparently the Dark One's prison is right next to the Eye of the World, which is not the case. It is hundreds of miles with a mountain in between them.
Well, that's a little bit different.
A little different.
Just a teeny bit. Tiny,
Yeah.
itty bitty bit.
And it's
Okay.
and kind of the thing about the Eye of the World, like, not really a spoiler, but it's in the middle of a blighted hellscape.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's like a nice, beautiful bit of vegetation that has beautiful trees that is in the middle of the blight. But
Ah,
it's at the edge of the blight before you get to the Mountains of Doom and the blasted lands beyond, which is basically Mordor but worse. Like, it's a storm-tossed Mordor.
yeah. See that cute little pretty place. You wouldn't build a prison next to it, so that's why.
Yeah.
That's
And
how
also
it goes.
you wouldn't have the Eye of the World, since the Eye of the World is, it's said in the book that it could possibly you could use it to either refirm the Dark One's prison or break it open. You would not have it right next to his prison. It's not a spoiler, it's just
Even more. There we go. But if you're writing the show and you just don't have time to have things that happen in between things, you just put them next to each other and just go, I guess they just put it there, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
that's what you're supposed to do, because it means that you don't have to do as much work, and you just have, like, things randomly happen next to each other, and then you go, wait, what? Why did that happen?
yeah, because Shale Ghul, where the Dark One is in prison, is a volcano.
Well, see? Exactly.
And
If it's right next to the place, means they don't have to do any travelling, means we skip an episode, you know? Means they don't have to do as much work.
yeah,
See?
they don't
Always
go
the-
near they don't go near Shale Ghul in the first book. You don't even see Shale Ghul until book 5.
Clearly, they didn't learn the lesson then from Game of Thrones, where you can just annihilate space and people can move across entire continents in a day.
Exactly.
Well, actually,
They-
in this, you can actually do that. There's a magical teleport system.
Well, see,
Oh.
that's in universe, and instead of using that, they decided to put random shit next to each other.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Well done. Oh god, this show. I'm not even like fully aware of how bad it is because I'm just not paying attention enough because it's just so fucking boring.
There's also the element of apparently, like, they can destroy the Dark One because apparently he's clinging to his strength. and
This
all
feels
his-
very premature.
It is. Because, and honestly, like, the Dark One, like, Moraine thinks that the Dark, like, at one point, Moraine, like, ran, I think some character thinks about, like, destroying the Dark One, and she's like, that's idiotic.
So who is going to destroy the Dark One? The Aes Sedai, or isn't the dragon's meant to do it?
Yeah, the dragon is meant to do it. Like, the idea that they have is that they are going to take the Dragon Reborn, who they don't even know who that is, take him to him or her to the Eye, and hope for the best.
Well, that's just so fucking. Isn't literally every hero's journey? Right, you're not ready to face the bad guy yet. We need to train you up and get you ready for. Like, that is every fucking fantasy series that starts out with a chosen one. Like, that's the whole thing. They have to, because no matter what the prophecy says, it's like, well, like, clearly you've got to be able to do the thing first. So maybe we should. It's like. Moraine just looks like a fucking reckless idiot for going, hey, I don't even know if you can do things yet. Let's just go on a magical adventure to kill the big bad before you even know what the fuck you're doing yet. What is this shit?
Wouldn't it be a riot if it turned out that none of those three chaps was the Dragon Reborn, was a completely different chap in a completely different country?
Yeah, like, Moraine, are you a mental stupid case? What is this?
Yeah.
The more I think about it, the more I'm like, Moraine, like, is now the only time? Like, seriously?
Your
Are you-
characters are only as smart as you at your maximum potential, and unfortunately, the writers here are idiots.
Like, what is this? How is did you actually listen to Sanderson when he gave you notes? Like, what the fuck?
Nah.
So
Sanderson teleports in world to be like, "Hey, you're this adapted Moraine character. Here, this is something smart you can do."
Yeah, in the books, like the reason why she takes Rand, Matt, and Perrin is because they are Taviran, and they can bend chance, so that the likelihood of them getting to the Eye of the World is amplified.
But
That's
you
the
see,
reason why.
you see, Moraine has read the script, and she knows these guys are the main characters, or the main characters apart from her, which means that must be one of them. That's how she knows.
So the space junk says, "Is the Dark One even a thing in the show?" He's been mentioned a couple of times at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know the books well enough to kind of be aware that is. I mean, it's quite an obvious name for a bad guy, but I don't know the books well enough to be aware of that as the name of the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that I know the name says it's been mentioned at least a few times in the show.
So, in the book, there is this. So we've had the Fire Eyes guy show up and scream in their face a few times.
I must have fallen asleep at that bit.
I don't know why that sounds funny. Put it that way.
It was really boring. There was nothing about it except like fucking Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare.
Okay, well, when I rewatch episodes 3 and 4, the ones I remember the least, I'm gonna look out for it because
it was in 2. It was in number 2.
So I can't wait to see what I've forgotten from episode 3 and 4 because I have no idea. I don't know what happened then.
I remember them doing the whole drama of them not trusting Moraine, and they bungle it because they don't actually know why they would distrust her.
Yeah.
This show is really bad. It's worthless.
I think how bad it will be in my head when I actually remember what happened.
Yeah.
We're also apathetic right now, just like,
oh, yeah.
this is so nothing.
Yeah, so this is what I mean when I say the dark. So.
That's quite lame looking bit. Oh dear. Oh.
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, and
he looks funny.
He looks like the reject member of Slipknot.
yeah. But yeah, and then like the ways they go into the ways, and Moraine doesn't even try to grab Matt at all, even though she has magic powers.
Moraine has just like lost her brain. I don't know what the fuck's happening. She's just turned into a dumb.
And my question is, how is like the last we see of the dagger is Lan throwing a blanket over it and taking it away. Where it is, we have no idea.
And I would be okay with that if it was a plot twist, but I bet you it's just going to be he finds it.
Yeah, and especially it's going to get weird because there is a character who we have seen in episode 4, who seems to be allied with the baddies, which is Pod and Fane. And he showed up in episode 4 very briefly. Like we see him right before Matt sees Logain. It seems like he's following them. My question is going to be, how exactly is he going to follow what exactly is going to happen between him and Matt in Tarval, and I really have no idea what's going to happen there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially since like we heard him whistling in his whistle in Shadar Logoth at one point. So interesting. But yeah, who's the showrunner? Rafe Judkins. Yeah, Rafe Judkins. He's actually the main thing that Mr. Judkins is famous for is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Chuck. And also he was on a season of Survivor, I think.
Okay. You know, sometimes you get a good writer that's been stuck on shitty shows, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, like
The fact that he's running the show might be a little bit big for him. Bless him. I'm going to assume that he's a good guy who's just got in over his head. I'm going to be generous here because I know nothing about him.
Based on his things, he seems like a mild as milk water dude.
That would explain the show.
Yeah. He's there is kind of actor fanboyism since like he talks a lot about like or at least like he like praises the actors a lot. Not in the same way that idiots like Cogman do. Because Brian Cogman is a moron, and nobody can convince me otherwise.
Yeah, more like, oh wow, this is a big cool thing that I'm doing now,
Yeah.
You know, and these guys are great, and I really appreciate him. Yeah. I mean, that does it explains. I wonder if that's playing into a little bit. I'm really curious what's going on behind the scenes of the Sanson thing, in terms of like. It explains why he's got a lot of goodwill towards him. If he's just a decent, you know, mild-mannered, alright guy, it's like, well, you know, he's trying.
Yeah. There's also the fact that he's got semi-protected status because he's gay.
Oh, well,
God
I'm not sure that Sanderson gives a shit about that.
I
but...
know. Well, here's the thing. If you say anything bad about a gay guy especially anybody of
I'm aware.
status,
but more in terms of when you see a guy being kind of genuinely generous towards someone's intentions to make a show, then it's that specifically, not so much what you do and don't say, but that attitude is probably not going to be influenced by whether or not you're gay. It's probably going to be influenced by your sort of
personality.
You know, personality. So that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
I am immune to his gay immunity. Fuck you.
Okay.
I love you, Aspiring, never change.
You're a pain in the ass sometimes, Aspiring, but yeah.
Well, there's always rule of contrast. There's always me to make.
Yeah, to be fair, Aspiring looks like a little angel compared to you, so.
Basically, who doesn't?
Sometimes you, Polarian, to be fair, you make some weird noises.
What? No way, I'm nowhere near as bad as Bratway.
No, but, you know.
Becca's just dropping some bombs right now. It's like, okay, so you're really shit. You're shit, but less so, and then you're shit.
What did I ever do?
You made interesting noises sometimes.
Which noises are those? To give me a demonstration so I can know what you're talking about?
I think it was so steamy.
Yeah, shit like that. I'm like, right.
It's like Becca has a yearbook of every. Becca has this yearbook of everyone who's been on one of these streams, and in all of them, she has notes about how we're all terrible. And then there's just Tarek, who has a heart.
She's recorded all of us. She's got recordings of all of us.
Well,
yeah.
Or I guess you didn't hear some of the weird noises I was making during the Writer Showcase 69.
Oh, fucking hell. Jesus Christ, I am glad I was nowhere near that shit.
Hey. I was reading mine and it had no horniness, okay?
Oh, wasn't Aspiring.
my whole
Ah.
chapter is very much in the future.
Okay.
Mine was charming and romantic.
And
Mhm.
mine was
Yes,
just filthy.
Of course it was. Wow.
Templarian
Original
really
kind of
showed
goes,
the
but I didn't hear much
intimacy
of it.
between geological forces.
Okay.
Yeah, it's,
Alright.
it was very instructive. It was all education. It's very educational. It's all about geology.
Mine was
Maybe you should do
educational.
some
was-
Oh,
astral
Dan, shut the fuck up. I'm over
Ow.
educated. You're such a child.
count. You should try doing some
Mine was-
astronomical astronomy intimacy.
Mine was rather educational, but it was not on the same level as Valerian's.
I can imagine.
Luckily, I didn't
Though
hear
I'm
much of
choosing
it.
not to.
Yeah, luckily, I didn't hear much of it.
Yeah,
I
it
am
was-
going to educate
Okay.
you about every human who is known to have done incest from the year 1500 and beyond.
Don't give me any good ideas.
Well,
You
you said
do
it
it,
was a
too.
good idea. Well, you said it was a good idea, so I might use it.
Shut up and die.
Well, it's just two sisters having sex with each other and their adopted
I
brother.
just.
Stop
What
it.
is
We've been
straight
through
stuff?
this. We've
What
been
is
through this a million times. Your moral compass is messed up. No offense. I like you, but your
Well-
moral compass is messed up in terms of the incest.
I will play devil's advocate and will mention people's moral compass back in those early days were also pretty fucked up.
Not
I
on
just-
quite that level.
Yeah, you didn't get to hear me go.
No!
Oh God! Can we not? I really don't want to hear that.
I like how this makes you more uncomfortable than a torture scene.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of don't like torture scenes either.
Well, it's probably a similar noise to when Eyebrows met Bush.
Kill yourself.
You
I like how we
stop.
I like how we just stopped talking about the show. It's just so boring.
Yeah, I think that was actually my favorite lot. One of my favorite jokes is I imagine the eyebrows met Bush was an interesting meaning or something to that
Oh
effect.
dear. Oh dear.
I'm a terrible person. I hope you all
Yes.
notice that.
You really, really are.
Yeah. I think every time you guys say anything, anytime I say anything, you guys go.
That is just goddamn ridiculous.
No, change ridiculous to disgusting. Yeah.
Change the whole thing to.
Oh, I didn't need that.
I forgot about that clip. I forgot all about that clip. If I had remembered that clip, I would not have made that noise. I beg your pardon.
Oh God. You'll
Thank
forgive
you,
me, Valerian.
Thank you, Von Lister, for providing that clip.
No, Von Lustra, no. We didn't need it.
What did Luster
So-
do?
He gave me the Tyrion vomiting.
Oh, did he? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I think that's pretty much it. The only thing else we have is they kind of assassinate Leandrin's character by making her straight a little bit.
I did. Like I was saying, I like the kind of train they were trying to go with that, in that, like, you have this veneer of hating men, and she's sort of like, she kind of betrays, you know, the idea of her kind of betraying that secretly and being of mixed feelings on it, you know, is an interesting contrast to the Aes that are, you know, kind of cool with men being the lesbians. You know, that's something you can play with. The thing is that they don't.
It's just used to make her shut up.
You know, like, it could have been an interesting thing to ponder of, like, she's one of the man-hating ones, but she's conflicted about it because she fell in love with a man and now she's, you know, there's something interesting going on. And no.
something interesting in the Wheel of Time show? Oh my god, no.
There's lots of things that could be interesting. That's one of the reasons why it's frustrating, because you're like, wow, that would have been interesting if they'd actually gone into it.
Did they spend 5 minutes on that? In fact, I forgot about it until you just mentioned it. Did they spend 5 minutes on that bit?
It's a passing comment.
Like
Oh,
2
wait.
minutes.
The only
Maybe
other
2 minutes.
Yeah, the only other like event of significance that happens is Egwene and Nynaeve meeting the Amerlin seat and reuniting with each other.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of a cute little scene. It doesn't really do all that much, but you know, sort of plot relevant. So meh.
Just everything is more interesting than the show. Everything.
God, that was space.
Better a child than a Karen?
Okay. Hmm.
I think that's. Did he just misspell Karen?
I think so. I'll assume that, except I'm not quite sure why Dunn would be a Karen. Although that is quite a horrifying thought.
Because
though
I thought we're trying to say the Quran, better a child than the Quran.
Oh god. Oh no.
Now I don't know what you people are talking about now. I mean,
I don't know what's happening. I'm just okay.
what are people living on about?
I would rather not take my chances with a different kind of Dunn, much as like Dunn as he is terrible.
Somehow I feel if they mutated it. Your pardon? Somehow I feel that if he mutated, it would be to something worse.
You cannot have anything worse than me. It's impossible.
I don't know.
I'm not quite
I mean,
sure.
on the one hand, yes, but on the one hand, who the fuck knows?
Don't risk it. Don't risk it. Just play it safe.
If I were, I would be consistently using "Daddy, would you like some sausage?" If I were worse.
Oh god, can we actually not keep defaulting to that shit, please? Jesus Christ.
Yes, stop defaulting to that.
I look
Oh,
so
God.
normal.
It's the thing that triggers you the worst, even though it's not that bad, all things considered.
We'll decide what's that bad.
Yeah, done. Stop deciding for us. Fuck you.
Well, yeah, true. And I guess like I'm waiting for the show to kind of do this.
Okay. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. This is not jumping the shark. I'm going to repeat that again. This is not jumping the shark. Oh, no. This is jumping the shark, coming back, shooting it in the balls, raping it, eating its flesh, consuming its soul, mounting its head on the wall, and then doing the same thing to 12 more fucking.
Wow. I have not seen that nostalgia critic clip before. That's yeah.
I feel like it's apt though. This many a thing.
Yeah. I don't want the show to get that bad just for sanity's sake, but
really?
Hey.
Honestly, I might prefer it now. Please make me feel something.
I have no idea. But look, I just don't want poor old Sanderson to be sad that it's shit. I want him to be able to live in delusion.
He's like your poor little boy, which you want to protect from the world.
I just want to protect all you guys, except Dunn. Dunn can go fuck himself.
Aww.
This is a touching note on the story. Thank you, Brightness.
I'm surprised I was included in that.
Me too.
You know, you just have to die sometimes aspiring, but you know.
You just occasionally have the urge to stab me with a carrot, but most of the other times I'm fine.
Yeah, most of the times it's like, poor little aspiring, pat him on the head.
Yeah, essentially Becca is.
Tell me. Do you bleed? You will.
You interrupted. You interrupted my sobbing with your clip.
My apologies.
Oh,
Lord of
Mantrina.
Oh Lord
Oh,
of
look, the
pedestrian
bard!
souls.
Aw, hey Bard. Hey Tarek.
Keeper and then real time crime stole library.
Aw. Yeah. That's yeah.
So
Madness.
I don't believe that it is a remake of Lord of the Rings. It's a prequel show because that's all the rage nowadays.
I just it's not happening. I
Because-
can't even deal with it in my head.
Because first we had Better Call Saul, which is excellent, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Then we had a Suits show that was a prequel to that. At least I think so. Then we were announced that we're getting like 5 or 6 Game of Thrones prequel shows. Then there was a Witcher prequel show supposedly in the works. Now there's official Game of Thrones prequel show coming out, and now there's a Lord of the Rings prequel show coming out.
This feels like you know that time that Harry Potter was like, you know what, Deathly Hallows has got too much shit going on, we need to split this into two films, like just so we can do the finale. And then every single series went, hey, our last book's got too much stuff going on, so we need to split it into 2 movies, haha. Totally not for the box office. Yeah, so it feels like that.
That's if you're lucky, and they don't divide it into 3 films.
Including the one that had this in it.
I mean, those are a fun watch, though. Sorry again to the poor Bard, but they you know, they're funny. They're ridiculous.
That's too disgusting to be funny.
No,
it's great. He's laughing at a child because he's like, wow, she's amazing. It's really ridiculous. It's so funny.
Can you stop telling us what's bad and what isn't? We'll decide.
It's silly. It's funny. It's ridiculous. He's having so much fun. No, you're not. No. I'm so sorry.
Well, he's not wrong. I don't know which one he's talking about, but he's not wrong. We all are, Eric. We all are.
You know I love you.
Oh no.
There's really good movies too.
Yeah, like Stardust.
Yeah.
What did you do to him?
I made him watch Twilight. And then he went out of his own opinion. His own volition went and bought the fucking gender swapped version of Twilight. And now he's just reading it. And I told him he didn't have to read it, but he's reading it anyway, so that's on him.
That guy's evil confirmed. You showed someone Twilight.
Go up to Space Junk, the Koran prequel where Abraham kills kittens. That's kind of, I don't know what the Muslims think of that, but that's
okay.
I don't know about that, but it's an interesting idea.
Well, I do know that so Becca, what was the surprise movie that I accidentally had you guys miss out on watching so that I could torture you with Max Magician? What was the movie? What ended up being the movie? I'm just curious.
Oh, it was a surprise because it was the movie my parents watched on their first date. And so I didn't, and it was just like, it's called The Commitments, and it's like an Irish, it's an Irish working class comedy musical that's kind of grungy with soul music. It's a really weird combination of stuff, but it's a great movie, you know, and I was like, keeping it under wraps, so he was just a complete surprise for him. But yeah.
Aww.
It was very cute. He was a bit confused by it, bless his heart.
Yeah. It would be the ultimate butchering. I'm not aware of a crime.
I made that up because it would be the ultimate butchering. I am not aware of a Koran prequel, Abraham killing kids. Yes, I think we got that idea.
That is the new good these days, is the modern day mentality. Best line in that movie, The Irishman saying, "I'm black and I'm proud."
Honestly, there are some stellar lines that I completely forgot are in there. It is a very funny movie.
Is there something worse than Max Magician? Honestly, Max Magician is possibly one of the most. It makes Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas look like a decent indie drama film.
That's so unjust. He's way better than Kirk Cameron. At least it's entertaining. Kirk Cameron. The only amusing thing in Kirk Cameron is that guy, Santa Claus, beating up the heretic.
Oh my god!
No comment.
If there is worse than Max Magician, we need to find it. I think that would be it.
No, see, you're like, I actually abuse this movie with bad movies. Then you're like, let's look for worse movies. It's like, can you like decide, please, sweetie?
No. Becca, you do abuse them. The problem is you're also about masochists, so you also like the abuse.
No comment.
We're going down a rabbit hole there, but we don't want to go down. Anyway.
Oh no, I want to go down this, but we
No,
have
you
other
do
things
not.
to
You do not want to go down here, Dunn. It's not happening.
I think he beat me to it, and I wouldn't want to go down there anyway.
Let's be
Sorry.
correct. None of us
Oh, dear.
This
Oh,
is
no.
our fault. Blame your precious boy.
What is with all of us today, anyway? We're all middle.
See, he agrees. Tarek agrees.
No comment. We don't need to know these details about your. We don't need to know these details. Keep that with yourselves.
It's like that scene. Have you guys seen Preacher? Have you seen that show?
No.
I've not. I've only seen clips, but
There's like it just legit is a thing that happens in that show. The kid tells the preacher, "My dad's abusing my mom," and he like talks to the mom, and then the mom reveals that yes, he does, but she's into it.
Oh, well, okay.
So, poor Tarek has been broken so much. You can also say that he's been broken in as well.
Oh my! Can you? Well, okay. Anyway.
Just think of a shoe, Becca. Think of a shoe.
Okay.
What you gonna do with the shoe? Throw it at me, or use it for other purposes?
I was just more thinking breaking in a shoe. That's what you've done to Tarek.
Okay.
Hey, it's not
so much, guys.
It's a non-dirty way to imagine what he said. Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to help you.
You're slightly less bad than done. Well done, aspiring.
At this point, I kind of want to be that just because it amuses you more.
No, you don't, aspiring. You don't want to play that line.
Well, kind of the thing about me being worse than him.
Of course.
Enjoy Doctor Who. It's better than Rest of Sanity.
Doctor. Aren't you? Isn't he still in Britainland?
No, he went back last week.
Oh, so you guys are like missing each other so much right now.
Yeah.
We've been pining. It's adorable.
Did he give you a piggyback ride? This is a genuine question. This is like the I would fucking do it. If I had a boyfriend or girlfriend that's like 7 feet tall, I'd be like, piggyback ride, you're doing it. Get down.
No. The answer is no. Now fuck off.
I'm so surprised you're so against it. He's literally a giant.
Oh.
Yeah, it was cute.
I carried him. Okay, that's good enough. That's good enough.
Let's see. Have we got back to the episode 6 yet? And if we have, then what are we saying about it? Because
where did we leave off?
I don't think we got to the bit where they're going to the nasty place yet.
Yeah. Oh. We've mentioned it a little bit, like just the fact that they're going through this thing in order to get to the ways. in order to get to the eye of the world. The
One,
context
it doesn't
is,
look like it.
yeah, and the books is basically described as a small doors of Durin, but with leaves and vines. And all you need to do, you don't even need to use the one power to get in. All you need to do is remove a leaf. And then all you can do, just remove the leaf from one side, it opens, you go in, you let everybody go in, then you put the leaf back in. Again, it closes behind you. Yeah. I don't know why they decided to make this change. But yeah, Matt staying behind is dumb. And also kind of the reunion between the people kind of feels really lame and lacking in a lot of like build up and emotion, since like I feel like we barely know these characters.
Oh, I forgot where they meet each other. Yeah, that was kind of nice. They were hugging each other and stuff.
Yeah, it was nice, but it lacked a whole lot of emotional weight.
The trouble is that the characters have not been developed enough over the preceding 5 episodes for us to care as much as we perhaps ought to or would want to.
Mm-hmm. And like we spent way too much time in the last episode on a character who ended up being pointless.
Kind of. Although we did make Lan freak out.
Yeah. That was dumb. I'm think pieces on the toxic masculinity can go screw themselves with cactuses.
Well, I mean, there is such a thing as toxic masculinity, but I haven't seen any in this show.
Well, I mean, like men being unemotional is not toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is abuse. It is more abuse is related, not stoicism. Like I hate the association between stoicism and toxic masculinity that a lot of idiots have on the internet. It's very frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there's a difference between like internalizing and being unable to deal with your emotions versus you have internalized and quickly deal with your emotions and move on because you just feel like the worst that could possibly happen to you has already happened. So, or that nothing really can hurt you. Like you just it's just so frustrating. Anyway, I think that that's pretty much it for this show. I hate this show. This episode is really bad, and it completely derails the whole thing because now it's just like, oh, we're going to kill the big bad. Like, wait, you realize that they don't have any way to do it, and like I'm looking at the show, it's just like there are one of two ways that it can go at this point, since there's going to be more show. The only thing that I can think of is that their actions in the Eye of the World actually break open the Dark One's prison, and now they had to fix it by the end of the show. That is the only other alternative, because if they can destroy the Dark One, or Moraine or Swan is just wrong. That's the other alternative.
The good news is the Dark One is actually back in the show now.
Yeah, but he's the way that they've been doing the Dark is really bad. I actually told Dr. Crow about it, and he's like, I told Dr. Crow, and he's like, what WTF?
He's watching the show too, isn't he?
He's taking a break for IRL reasons.
Oh, okay.
So he was do any of these books break away from the Chosen One fighting the Dark One plot type? And I just thought he meant the show, and I didn't realize. I was like, I was asking about the books, but what the F? Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. Yeah. Kingdom Hearts better characters. Wow.
Oh.
That wow. Yeah. That series is a trip and a half.
Who's scarier?
Anime meets Disney
Oh
is
God, no.
yeah.
Anime meets. No, stop. We already know it's bad.
We all know it's bad, but who's scarier?
Fucking weebs.
Who's scarier? The dark one? I'm trying to ask a question. Who's scarier, the dark one or that chap with ram horns and Max Magician?
I would say the dark one because he doesn't get turned into a mouse at the end.
Well, we haven't got to the end yet, though, so maybe he does.
Believe it or not, I've forgotten the fucking events of Max Magician. But that's through like hard work, whereas like with time, I just sort of, it's like, by accident.
Yeah, and he's literally killed by a swarm of mice.
I just don't I don't want to remember Max Magician. Okay, it took me a while to get over it, and I just don't need the memories back. Yeah, done. Okay.
Oh, that stream is hilarious. I listened to it and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is great.
You killed us all. That's what happened. That's why you're laughing. You're like, they're all dead. Isn't that funny? I'm like, fuck you.
Well, no.
Ruined my date night, alright?
To be fair to Bratlord, I'm the one who brought up Max Magician just now.
Okay, fair enough. He continued it though. So it's always Dun's fault.
It always is, yeah.
And also,
Hashtag
like,
blame
you don't
Dun.
have you don't have the what is it? The main villain's henchman yelling idiot at him.
I can't. I don't want to remember it. Stop bringing up the fucking plot points, please, Dun. I just can't cope with this anymore.
It's hilarious.
No,
Max Magician's not that bad.
It's oh god. I don't know why that affected me so much, but it did.
Well, it could always be Birdemic.
Yes, it could always be something else, Done. Point is, that's what it was, and I don't want to remember it any more than if we watched Birdemic, I wouldn't want to remember that either, alright?
Max Magician is less bad than some of the other stuff he's made us watch.
Oh god, I don't give a shit. I just... Be glad you weren't there, Aspiring. It was bad.
Well,
Yeah.
you could always rewatch the stream and just...
You could do. You would probably regret it.
Well, no, it was the greatest thing ever.
I would only watch it to see all you go insane.
Well, for reference, you've seen Game of Thrones season 7 and 8, right?
Yes.
White Dragon said point blank he would rather watch those than Max Magician.
Jesus, how much does it kill your brain?
It looks like it was filmed on a budget of $200.
It's just I saw student films that were 1,000 times better than that. Like,
wow,
it's just really bad.
So Valerian has actually pulled up an image from the film.
It's not a very good one though. You can't see much of his head. You can't see the horns very well.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Harry Potter meets Narnia meets Lord of the Rings on a budget of $500.
But the fun thing is that that text in the upper left-hand corner that actually says, "How is this a thing?"
Oh,
that's actually
yeah,
what that
that's
text
good.
says.
Good fucking question.
Now, while I could arguably be considered a masochist, considering the amount of shitty shows I watch with people, I think I'll dodge the bullet for this one, because this sounds like the horror that Becca made Tara go through on a much different level.
Look, at least Twilight had a budget. At least it's got discussion to be had about, you know, because it's a shitty series. But you're like, you know what? I can see what she's going for. She's bad at writing, but like, there are things to discuss about the romance genre and vampires. This is just like, the fuck.
Yeah. So Aspiring, these are some still shots from the movie.
That's the one. That one in the middle. That's the one I have as my avatar right now. Not that
This guy.
one. Not that one. Not that one. The one below. That one.
Yeah.
How
Doesn't
is
look
this a
too
thing?
bad.
Why is this a thing? Not
Oh no,
how.
literally the only good thing about it is that they seem to have spent all of their £100 on that prosthetic that he's wearing, or whatever it is. Like,
Wow.
literally the only thing that looks good. Everything else is like, you didn't have lights when you filmed this, did you? Because this is shit. Everything just looks bad.
The kid's okay.
It looks like it was edited in Photoshop by someone who's never used Photoshop.
The kid's
And was
okay.
drunk.
Yeah.
You were saying, Valerian.
I said the kid's okay.
Yeah, he's got crap to work. He's got crap to work with.
I can't even tell because it's so shit you can't see through it. But I feel like he looks a bit dead inside most of the time. But
yeah. Well, I think that will do it for tonight. I gotta get going. I have some pies to take out of the oven for my mother, and then I'm gonna watch a good movie. And anybody who wants to come on can.
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, if anybody wants to watch How to Train Your Dragon with me, Skid, Ids, and Space Doors are totally fine. But I totally understand if you want to take a break.
You gotta take a walk.
Yeah. Alrighty, we will call it good, and we will end with our Lord and Master, the Grinch, saying the immortal line.
Cut, print, check the gate, moving on.